I want to share with you a mindset technique that has helped me out greatly, and it'll do the same for you. So for every season or every 3 months, I establish a new habit, something that's extremely small, like a little mini goal. Now, a lot of us find it difficult to commit to something like that. I mean, just look at New Year's resolutions. How many of us actually do it? And if you did, how many of you are actually sticking with it? I'd be willing to bet that you were able to stick with it for a month or two, maybe 3, but then you kind of fell off, right? And that's okay, because most likely you took on something that was a little bit too ambitious. And we don't really know how to handle tackling such habits, right? Because when you take on a goal, it's not with the idea that you only do it for 2 to 3 months. Ideally, you want to do something that is permanent, something for the rest of your life, and that can be very overwhelming. So the secret is to pick something that is extremely small, something that you can do for the rest of your life. And that's where the power of picking a mini habit effectively for one season, for 3 months, you implement it, you go on to the next, that is where this really shines. You see, if you're wanting to do something that's important, you don't have to wait for a specific day, one day of the year, in order to get started. In fact, I've had certain goals where I was like, I don't even want to wait till New Year's. I don't care if it's 2 weeks before then. I need to implement it right now, because that just shows to me further that this goal means something to me. If I don't even want to wait 2 weeks, I want to get started now, that just further affirms I'm going to do this. Let me give you an example, and don't judge me because everybody's got their own little habits that they're trying to improve. But I used to eat a lot of peanut butter. And when I mean a lot, I'm talking easily like 6 tablespoons a day. I would just take the jar, take the spoon, whoosh, and I'd go to town. And I don't even want to know how much calories, how much fat that was, because But all I knew was that I needed to stop, that this was not healthy, and I needed to make a change. So that's why I simply decided, okay, for the next 3 months, this is going to be my goal. I'm going to give up this peanut butter. Maybe I'll have a certain other bad habit that sneaks in there. I'm going to try my best to not allow that to happen. But ultimately, peanut butter, never buying this stuff again. And when exactly I stopped, I couldn't tell you. I know that's many years ago, and I've had plenty of other habits that I implemented since as well. All right, so you may be thinking like, okay, what's the reasoning behind this? Why are you doing this? The idea stems from the fact that it takes a certain amount of time to establish a long-term habit. Now, I'm sure that they say it's like 70 days, but I want it to be concrete. And I like even numbers. So I think that there's 4 seasons in a year. So then every season, which is 3 months, about 90 days, if I can lock that in, awesome. And then I have that for the rest of my life. Now, of course, you can add on more habits. There's nothing stopping you. But the idea is, at a minimum, every season, you're working on something, even if it's extremely small. All right, so let's go over other examples so you get a better idea as to how small these habits truly are. You could go for a 15-minute walk every single day, preferably when the sun's up, but again, it's up to you. You could also eliminate a particular food that you just know that is bad for you. Side story, back when I was a teenager, there were like plenty of mornings that I would eat like 3 donuts for breakfast. I kid you not. The damage that was done, I was a little bit chunky too as a teenager, but still, the amount of 3 donuts and the sugar levels and the things that I know now, wow. But again, a lot of these changes that I made were minor. I was like, okay, no more donuts. That ain't happening. Still found myself eating yogurt or other things that had sugar in it, but as time progressed, I really cut down. But again, we're going over certain examples, not just food related, but other ones as well. Another one could be, hey, I'm no longer going to hit the snooze alarm on my alarm clock. I'm going to buy a physical one, put it somewhere where I actually have to get my feet out of bed to hit that thing off. No more snoozing. It could be you're going to clean your dishes before you go to sleep every night. Even if it's 3 a.m., you don't feel like it. You're like, no, this is going to be clean. You know why? Because when I wake up in the morning, I want this sink always to be clean. I don't want to have to dread it where we go on 3 days without washing it. Stops today. It could be you're going to start flossing because you're sick of your dentist always judging you, telling you the same thing. So then next time in 6 months, you go up and you're like, check out these gums. They're amazing. What do you have to say now? And they'd be like, congrats. You want a free toothbrush? What do you want? And you're like, okay, I was wanting more. But that's not the point. So as you can see, these habits really can stack up. Now, maybe you don't feel confident in telling somebody else, being like, hey, I'm working on this. And they'll look at you and be like, Is that really going to make a difference? But it does. And let me also describe a few other benefits that you may not have thought about. One major benefit is that you trust yourself more and you feel more self-confident. You said, I promised that I was going to do this, and I followed through. I feel great about that. Doesn't matter how big or small it was just, I followed through. Because how often do we make ourselves promises, but we don't follow through? For example, you tell somebody, I'm going to be there at 11 o'clock, don't worry. And then you look at your watch, ooh, it's 11:05 and I haven't even left the house. I'll be there soon, I'll do it. And you're like, man, happens all the time. And then even other people start to pick up on it. It's like, that person's never on time. Just, how are we going to juggle this, etc. But in this type of scenario, you're starting somewhere and you're building up that self-confidence. Like, yeah, I'm the type of person, when I say it, it's happening. Another benefit is that we start to build up a little bit of momentum and we start analyzing other things in our lives, saying, well, I put in effort here and I got some really good results, more than I thought I would. Never even suspected that that would happen. So what if I did more? What if I just did a little bit extra? I changed this. And before you know it, you're on this positive upward spiral. Because all of us know what it's like to be on the other side of that, where it's a negative feedback loop. Example, you're like, oh, I don't feel good today. I just want to procrastinate, be lazy, watch Netflix, eat junk food. Go to bed late, scroll, wake up later, then you're just drinking coffee to make up for the energy, and you find yourself just not making the best choices. So this is a way how to reverse that and say like, oh, I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm making some progress. I want to keep this going. All in all, picking a mini habit that I work on every season has provided me with such benefit, both directly and indirectly, that I can't calculate. So it's something that I just need to share with you guys. Now, if you're someone that struggles with being consistent with habits, where you're kind of like, I'm kind of feeling overwhelmed, even if it is a mini habit, because staying consistent isn't one of my strong suits, don't worry. I got some tips and strategies. I'm going to be posting up a video, maybe here or here, that talks about 7 tips as to how you can improve your self-discipline. And finally, if you made it this far, I just want to say thank you. Just knowing that there's people out there that want to improve their life, even by 1%, and I could play a factor in that, that's just fulfilling, and it's difficult in a way to describe. So, I want to say thanks again. I'll see you in the next video.